Let's start with a word of prayer. Let's pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and legislative assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Amen. Okay. Good morning, honorable members. I welcome you to today's sitting, the morning session. Let's start off. Clerk.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I have a communication to make. Good morning, honorable members. I have the following communication to make. A, County Fiscal Strategy Paper for financial year 2025-2026. The Assembly is expecting the County Fiscal Strategy Paper CFSP for financial year 2025-2026 by 28th February 2025, pursuant to Section 117 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. Honorable members, 28th February 2025 is on a Friday, hence not a sitting day pursuant to Standing Order 27. 3. Section 117, subsection 6 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 provides that not later than 14 days after submitting the County Fiscal Strategy Paper to the County Assembly, the County Assembly shall consider and may adopt it with or without amendments. Honorable members, based on the limited time on consideration of the County Fiscal Strategy Paper, I direct that once received by the Office of the Clerk, the paper will stand committed to the Budget and Appropriation Committee. B, broadcasting of plenary proceedings. Honorable members, the broadcasting studio is experiencing a technical hitch on broadcasting live on YouTube and in the screens within the premises of the Assembly. However, the plenary proceedings are being recorded both on audio and video and will be uploaded on YouTube immediately after the plenary proceedings as the technical problem is being fixed. Thank you, honorable members. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
May I invite Honorable Dominic Ndambuki, Chairperson Budget, to come forward and lay down the papers.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Dominic Ndambuki, Chairperson, BAC. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly today, Wednesday, 26th February 2025, a report of Budget and Appropriations Committee on County Budget Review and Outlook paper. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
At this point, I would like to invite Honorable Dominic Ndambuki, once again, Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation Committee, to come and give a notice of motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to give notice of motion that pursuant to Standing Order number 186, this Assembly adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on County Budget Review and Outlook paper. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. B, notice of motion to be presented by Honorable Francis Kavio, MCA Kinani Ward. Honorable Member, you are welcome.
Honorable Speaker, that are aware that the Government of Kenya commitment to uphold the right to water and sanitation is enshrined in Article 43, 1D of the Constitution, which guarantees the right of all Kenyans to clean and safe water in adequate quantities. Honorable Speaker, further aware that Section 14A of the MACHAKOS County Water and Sanitation Act 2014 mandates the county government of Machakos to ensure that every resident of Machakos County has access to water. Acknowledging that Kinania Ward, which is in Mavoko Sub-County, is under Mavoko Water and Sanitation Company, MAVWASCO, which is required to provide water and sanitation services within Mavoko Sub-County. Aware that the core business of the MAVWASCO is sourcing and distribution of water within its area of operation, further aware that in Kinani Ward, residents do not have adequate access to water under MAVWASCO. Honorable Speaker, I wish to give a notice of motion that this House discusses and approves that Mavoko Water and Sanitation Company, which is within Mavoko Sub-County, ensures that the people of Kinani Ward have access to safe and clean water for domestic use within reasonable distance in the following areas: Daystar, Pioneer, Chumvi, Mulandi, and Kinanie Market. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kavio. Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
May I invite Honorable Francis Kavio once again, MCA Kinani Ward, to come forward and present a statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, aware that under the 4th schedule of the Constitution, county government are responsible for county planning and development, including A, statistics, B, land survey and mapping, C, boundaries and fencing, D, housing and electricity and gas reticulation, and energy regulation. Further aware that Article 66(1) of the Constitution provides that the state may regulate the use of any land or any interest in or right over any land in the interest of defense, public safety, public order, public morality, public health, or land use planning. Aware that Section 211, the National Land Policy requires that the government should facilitate regularization of settlement in public and community land with an aim of upgrading and developing, as well as establishing a legal framework and procedures to transfer of unutilized land and land belonging to absentee landowners to those living in informal settlement. Informed that in 2011, after getting approval from the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Land, National Government, the Portland Cement Company entered into the process of regularization of part of its land earlier given by the national government. Aware that regularization involves legalizing the procedure of disposing the land to individuals by doing survey work, subdivision, and registration of any interested in purchasing the partition land parcels to help in clearing a debt facility obtained from KCB Bank. Remembering that in 2011, Portland Company transferred to Kenya Commercial Bank the land parcels LR numbers 8786 and 8784 in part in order to pay off a debt of 6.8 billion. Informed that during the financial year 2024-2025, the Kenya Commercial Bank engaged stakeholders in Kinani Ward with a view of sharing information on the requirement and the progress of land regularization. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 40 of the Assembly Standing Order, I wish to seek a statement from the County Executive Member, Department of Lands, Energy, Housing, Urban Development on the following matters. The strategy that the department has put in place to ensure that KCB adheres to the relevant laws in engaging the stakeholders and residents of Kinani Ward when undertaking the regularization process. B, information on whether KCB is actually regularizing or selling the said land to stakeholders. Roman 2, the procedure the stakeholder will use to obtain ownership documents after meeting the requirements provided. 3, any pending land rates owed to the county. Roman 4, why KCB is charging a higher price compared to the valuation report for the area, and also the price being charged by East Africa Portland for an equivalent price in the same area is different. Number 5, KCB to consider the payment period of 5 years as proposed by the resident during public engagement against the 3 months issued. KCB to stop cases of double allocation to multiple owners as it poses a potential conflict and a security threat to the area. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And maybe if you allow, Madam Speaker, I just share some clarity. Madam Speaker, the journey...
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Point of order granted.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm raising on Standing Order number 27 on extension of time. Honorable Speaker, that aware that Standing Order number 27 is about 2, providing that the Speaker shall interrupt business at 12:30 for the morning sitting. Aware that Standing Order number 27 is about 3, providing that the House may resolve to extend its sitting time. Aware that Standing Order number 27(4) requires a motion to extend sitting time to be moved at least 30 minutes before the time appointed for adjournment. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion that this House resolves to extend its sitting time until the business in the order paper is concluded. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I call upon the majority leader to second the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you, Honorable Majority. I now put the question that this House resolves to extend its sitting time until the business of the day is concluded. I now put the question that this House resolves to extend its sitting time until the business of the day is concluded. As many are of the opinion say ayes. As many are of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Kaviu, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I was saying, the issue of the land ownership at Kinani Ward has been a long issue that has dragged for some time. And Madam Speaker, as you are aware, immediately we came to hear there was a public petition that came to this House, and officers from the Kenya Commercial Bank came here, and they made it clear that they are not in the business of buying or selling land. And also, as is stipulated by the law, they don't have the capacity to own land. So they can only acquire land as a way of recovering in instances where any property was given as a security. In this case, Madam Speaker, despite the said officers having made a commitment and an oath before the Committee on Lands, Madam Speaker, it's no longer the case. It has now changed from a regularization process or a process of them recovering their debt that is outstanding to a sale at a gunpoint. And Madam Speaker, it's a pity because as it stands now, the people who have been living there since the year 2000 breaks today, and you are caught trying to repair to protect yourself. The officers who have been assigned to provide security in that area under OCS at the river, those people are arresting people and extorting money. The only way you can buy your freedom just for trying to put your home in order is by parting with cash. Madam Speaker, also the other sad bit is that we have members of public who have been living there, and Madam Speaker, I also wish the committee will make a visit to there. We have people who have already been dislocated from their home because there are people who had already been settled there based on advisory from the ministry, from the National Land Commission, letter that came from the then chairman, Mohamed Swazuri, who instructed that owing to the fact that East Africa Portland had finished the intended use that they had been granted to extract mine, that the land was due to be assigned to the local community. Madam Speaker, there have come another arrangement. Any member of public who was owning any parcel of land next to Mombasa Road, they are being forcefully evicted from their land, including demolition. And one of them, they don't have a right to own land within the Mombasa Road.
Let me understand something. KCB allocates land or sells land to somebody when there is an occupant on that particular land.
Yes.
It's like double
allocation.
So
and
now the person who is occupying that is supposed to be evicted, and another one comes in who has been sold by KCB. Thank you.
Exactly.
Proceed. Yes.
So, Madam Speaker, that is the challenge that we are facing. And that has been happening in the broad light, supported by our security agencies from the Athi River police station. And whenever we have tried to seek clarity on which order or what are they enforcing, they have been adamant and have refused to give any explanation to us. Secondly, Madam Speaker, the same land that is only one side of the road is where East Africa Poland is currently in the process of resettling the people who have occupied. So the only boundary is a 9-meter road that is separating the two blocks. One block, a piece of 50 by 100, is KCB is forcing members to buy at a cost of 2.2 million. Then across the road, East Africa Portland is settling people at a cost of 750,000 shillings, which is the actual value for land within that area. Yes. Madam Speaker,
KCB is 2.5.
2.2 million.
2.2 million. Proceed.
And Madam Speaker, the other pertinent issue is that no information, because Madam Speaker, as you are aware, in Kenya, any land buying process, before you make any payment, there are documents that are prerequisite that must be produced. One, to prove ownership. If it is a case where KCB is intending to recover what is owed to them by East Africa Portland, then there must be a charge that is showing that indeed this land ceased to be in possession of East Africa Portland, and now KCB has the control or the mandate over the same piece of land. Madam Speaker, that has never happened, and our people are just paying out of fear of being evicted from their land, and fearing that if they don't make any commitment, then they stand a chance to lose their land. And also, Madam Speaker, the payment period that have been given with the current economic status, it is not possible for an ordinary Kenyan to raise, if you own a plot of 50 by 100 and you are supposed to pay the 2.2 million that they have given as the selling price, you are required within, well, confirm, I don't know whether it's 3 weeks or it's within, yes, it was within 3 weeks. You are supposed to make a payment of 15% of the total value. Failure to which you stand to lose your parcel of land, and already a fee of 200,000 Kenya shillings that was being extorted from members of public, which had no clear explanation what the members were paying for, despite them being in possession of a location certificate from the previous societies which were settling people there, where members also paid a fee of around 50,000 Kenya shillings. So, Madam Speaker, I wish to make an appeal to this House that it comes to the rescue of our people, and KCB is held to account, because even the people who have been given the mandate of facilitating the process, they are behaving like criminals. You go there, they don't want to engage you. And maybe to quote in Kiswahili, I engaged one of the officials and they told me, wewe sasa MCA, hapa unakimbiza upepo. Hii kitu tumemaliza huko juu na hakuna kitu mutafanya. Na wakamba mutaama, hamuna pesa. And that is the person who is supposed to facilitate the process. So, Madam Speaker, we also want to understand the person who is acting as the agent of KCB. We also want to understand, are they qualified, or in whose authority are they acting? Because they are not a liquidator, they are not an auctioneer. So we also want clarity on what grounds are those people at the ground acting on behalf of, and also the OCS at the river to come out clear and explain, because we have not seen police in the East Africa Portland. So what is the interest with the KCB land that the area has been converted into a mini police station? On average, you pass around there, you will find not less than 15, a contingency of 15 to 20 police officers. What are they enforcing there? There is no war. There has not been a case of insecurity. So the OCS at the river is there facilitating impunity to make sure those who try to talk. And Madam Speaker, even sometimes last month, as a representative of the people,
Yes, proceed.
I gave a notice that I was going to meet my people so that I can understand. And Mheshimiwa Muthoni is a witness. That morning, the area was flooded with police officers. And I was instructed that I do not have any right to meet or even and go and listen to the cry of my people. So, Madam Speaker, we want the security agencies, Mavoko Sub-County, to come out clearly and specifically at the river and explain what is their interest in the KCB regularization process. And Madam Speaker, 2.2 million is a lot of money with the prevailing economic condition. So during the public engagement, the residents were very clear, and at no point have we ever refused to take part in the regularization process. What my people are saying is that they want to be allowed reasonable time, and we had made a proposal of not less than 5 years, because KCB has waited for all that time. So what is the rush? And are they supposed to make profit from our people? Because if what is outstanding is the 6.8 billion, Madam Speaker, if you do the calculation, the parcel is almost around 2,000 acres. So if you do the multiplication, if we go by that rate, KCB is going to raise over 15 billion, which is more than double what is outstanding to them. So we want to understand, when did the KCB get into real estate or in the business of selling and disposing land? Because if the pending amount, we only want them to recover the 6.8 billion and perhaps any cost that is related to the exercise. And Madam Speaker, if we go by that route, our people will be able to get those plots at a maximum cost of 600,000 Kenya shillings, which is reasonable, and it is a reflection of the true value of land within that particular area. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kaviu. I just want to talk to the Committee on Lands and Energy, to which I'm going to commit this statement to. Previously, you had put a lot of energy to our land, some other land that had been grabbed, and we have recovered it. I would like you to put the same energy, or even more energy, to this particular investigation, so that you can unravel this mystery surrounding this land. Our people are being treated like criminals. Land is being sold at unreasonable prices to them. There is police security is really involved. We do not understand what their interests are. So I would want to commit this, but put these concerns raised by Honorable Kaviu into consideration, and do it really, really seriously so that we can get to the bottom of this matter. Honorable Kaviu, are you a member of that committee? You are not? Okay. It is okay. I have faith in the committee because it has done good work before. So let me at this point then say that this statement is hereby committed to the Lands and Energy Committee to report on or before 12th March 2025. You have 3 weeks to do your work and bring us this report. This is urgent. We cannot dilly-dally on the matter. Thank you very much. At this point in time, I would like to invite Honorable Judas Ndawa, MCA Matu Ward, and the Minority Leader to come forward and present another statement. Honorable Ndawa, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Judas Ndawa, the member representing the great people of Matu. Honorable Speaker, I want to say something before I go to the main business. Sometimes back, I raised a concern on how this house is lit. And you gave instructions that you should have proper light in the house.
Yeah. Sure.
Honorable Speaker, these bulbs went off while we were on recess. Okay. And as you can see, members are straining to read because the house is not well lit. Honorable Speaker, I've tried to inquire why the bulbs have not been replaced. And the information I'm getting is that there are procurement challenges. So, Honorable Speaker, this is clear indication that somebody is sleeping on his job. Exchanging a bulb, replacing a bulb, does it need to go through procurement? Honorable Speaker, there are things that are supposed to be done instantly. So, Honorable Speaker, as the head of this institution, you need to crack whip on the lazy officers who are trying to make our life here difficult.
Sure.
Because if the bulbs went off while we were in long recess, 2 months, and now, if we are talking about procurement, it means now we are going to give an advert. Somebody will tender, will be given time. Those who are interested to request, then there will be the closing, opening, and awarding. Honorable Speaker, that means if we are not careful, the session may end without these bulbs being replaced. So, Honorable Speaker, the same issue you talked about may be an itch in our live streaming system. It means now our team, which is supposed to be handling that, they are not keen. We have never had National Assembly having the same problem. And we should be borrowing how they operate, because a county assembly is a replica of the National Assembly. So, Honorable Speaker, let us never talk about this bulb another time.
Thank you. And before you commence on your statement, perhaps I want to say this, that actually, even me, sorry, I was wondering, why am I straining? I didn't understand there was a problem, because I think even my lighting here is also not showing. But this is the direction that I'm giving on that matter, that the clerk is directed to make sure that in the next 2 hours, this matter is sorted out, that we have light. Thank you. Let's proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for that direction. I'm very sure things will be proper. I must use my specs now, because to supplement the lost light.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Aware the government of Kenya's commitment to uphold the right to water and sanitation as enshrined in Article 43(1)(t) of the Constitution, which guarantees the right of all Kenyans to clean and safe water in adequate quantities. Honorable Speaker, cognizant that the financial year 2023-2024, the Department of Water Resource Management was allocated a budget under the development and promotion of irrigation program for desilting of dams, water ponds, canals across the county. Further noting that the Department of Climate Change received a budget allocation also for specifically desilting of dams and water ponds, resulting in the successful desilting of 79 water dams and ponds within the county. The massive investment underscores the county's commitment to enhancing water storage capacity, mitigating the effect of climate change, and improving surface water harvesting for sustainable water resource management. Acknowledging that the desilting of dams, after desilting of the dams, the word that is not there. Whoever was typing. After desilting those dams, prolonged heavy rains followed, resulting in the breaching of numerous dams, water ponds, spillways, and embankments. Recognizing that many of these dams have since been silted significantly, reducing or completely eliminating their capacity to harvest and store water, any surface water. Aware that as a county, we are anticipating the onset of rains soon, necessitating urgent action to restore and enhance our water storage infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, I rise to seek a statement. Whoever was typing said the chairperson, and I'm very sure the chairperson sitting in this committee may not have the answers. So I'm amending that statement. I rise to seek a statement from the CCM, Water and Irrigation Committee, Water and Irrigation, regarding the department's effort to address critical water infrastructure challenges on the following. 1. On the repair of washed away spillways, what initiatives has the county government undertaken to restore spillways that have been damaged, all washed away, and what is the expected time for completion? Number 2, restoration of dams embankments. What measures are being implemented to repair breached embankments of dams to prevent further structural deterioration and water loss? Number 3, desilting of dams and water ponds. What strategic plan has the department put in place to desilate dams and water ponds to enhance their water holding capacity and ensure maximum water harvesting, particularly in preparation for the future dry season? Honorable Speaker, the statement has 3 requests that we need answers.
Yes.
And the statement is brought before this House in good faith. Honorable Speaker, I as the Governor promise to ensure that the residents of Machakos get clean and safe water as it is enshrined in Article 43 and Part D says, and in inadequate quantities. Honorable Speaker, the governor and the departments went ahead and did a very good job of desilting about 79 dams. That's a very big, that's a very huge impact on Department of Water, and we must say thank you for that good job. Honorable Speaker, after doing that, immediately, torrential rain came, and some of the dams that we did that time were damaged.
There's some noise coming from somewhere.
Yes.
Make sure there's no noise. Thank you. Proceed.
Yes, I'm saying,
yes.
After doing that good job, torrential rain came, and some of the dams were damaged, either the spillway or the embankment. Honorable Speaker, now we are expecting onset of rains in the next few weeks, because in most cases we get rains in the month of March. We have 2 days to March. Honorable Speaker, the reason I'm seeking this statement is because we don't know the amount of rain that we are going to get. And if we don't do something, rain may come and we may be left without water. So, Honorable Speaker, it is my humble plea that the departments treat this as an emergency and act accordingly to ensure that we repair these spillways and we repair the embankments. Honorable Speaker, if we say we go the tendering way, the rain may be with us before we are through with that tendering process because of the time which is required to be given. So, Honorable Speaker, my request is that we can use our county equipments and county engineers to repair or to ensure that our dams are ready to fetch water. And I'm very sure if we do that, after the rains, the residents of Machakos will be left smiling and happy for what the county government is doing for them. So, Honorable Speaker, I request that, because I know it's a normal practice that you commit and give timelines.
Yes.
As you give timelines, I just kindly want to remind you that in the next 3 weeks, the rain may be with us. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. And the committee concerned, you have heard the concerns of Honorable Ndawa in that statement. Rains are almost with us, and we need this work to be taken as a priority. So for that reason, matters of procurement may not be really necessary at this point. We move with speed. So on that account, then I want to commit this statement to the Committee on Water and Irrigation to respond to this House on or before 12th of March 2025. And when we say on or before 12th of March 2025, we mean that you can bring it even next week. You can bring it even the week after. But let it not go beyond 12th of March. So that committee, please move with speed. You know why we are moving with speed, because rains are about to start pouring. Thank you very much. Next order.
Order number 8, motion, approval of report of county budget review and outlook paper.
May I invite Honorable Dominic Ndambuki, Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation, Committee to come and take us through the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order number 186, I wish to move the motion that this House adopts the report of Budget and Appropriations Committee on County Budget Review and Outlook paper as laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 26th February 2025. I wish to call upon Honorable Peter Kilonzo to second.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you, Chairperson. I now propose the question that this Assembly adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriation Committee on County Budget Review and Outlook paper as laid down on the table of the House on Wednesday, 26th February 2025. Before I call upon the members to come and debate the matter, I welcome the mover to come and highlight on that report. Proceed, Honorable Ndambuki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm going to present before the House a report written by the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the County Budget Review and Outlook paper 2024, written this month, February 2025. Honorable Speaker, Section 118 of PFMA 2012 requires that each county treasury prepares the County Budget Review and Outlook paper in respect of their county for each financial year. The CBROP presents 1. Actual physical performance in the reporting period compared to the budget. 2. Updated economic and financial forecasts with sufficient information to show changes from the forecasts in the most recent county fiscal strategy paper. 3. Information on how actual performance for the previous financial year may have affected compliance with the fiscal responsibility principles or the financial objectives in the latest CFSP. And 4, the reasons for any deviation from the financial objectives together with proposals to address the deviation and the time estimated to do so. 2, the CBROP should be submitted to the County Executive Committee by 30th September and approved by 14th of October each year, then submitted to the County Assembly by 21st October of the same year. Once approved by the County Executive Committee and forwarded to the County Assembly, the County Treasury should have it published and publicized. The 2024 CBROP was submitted to the County Assembly on 18th October 2024 within the legal timeline, tabled in the House on 26th November 2024, and thereafter committed to the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Honorable Speaker, CBROP aims to provide a review of the physical performance for the fiscal year 2023-2024 and how the outcomes impacted the county's financial objective and fiscal responsibility principles as envisaged in the PFMA of 2012 and CFSP. It also relays the primary sector ceilings for fiscal year 2025-2026, budget inclusive of indicative projections for fiscal year 2026-2027 and 2027-2028 medium-term expenditure framework period. The ceilings will set off the budget preparation process for the next fiscal year. Honorable Speaker, in line with Chapter 12 of the Constitution of Kenya as read together with Section 107 of PFMA 2012, the county government shall adhere to fiscal responsibility principles which are 1. The county government recurrent expenditure shall not exceed the county government's total revenue. 2. Over the medium term, a minimum of 30% of the county budget shall be allocated to development expenditure. 3. The county government's expenditure on wages and benefits for public officers shall not exceed a percentage of the county government revenue as prescribed by the regulations. 4. Over the medium term, the county government's borrowing shall be used only for the purpose of financing development expenditure and not recurrent expenditure. 5, public debt and obligations shall be maintained at a sustainable level as approved by the county government. 6, physical risks shall be managed prudently. And 7, a reasonable degree of predictability with respect to the level of tax rates and tax bases shall be maintained, considering any tax reforms may be made in the future. Looking at the physical performance for the fiscal year 2023-2024, Honorable Speaker, this assembly approved a budget of 14.7 billion Kenya shillings, which was to be financed through equitable share of 9.5 billion Kenya shillings, additional allocations or conditional grants of 1.1 billion Kenya shillings, and on-source revenue, including appropriation in aid of 4.1 billion Kenya shillings, representing 65%, 7%, and 28% respectively in the course of budget implementation. The county treasury revised the estimates in a bid to align the county policies to the changing budget implementation environment. The revised estimate of 15.8 billion Kenya shillings comprised of 11 billion Kenya shillings as equitable share, 1.4 billion Kenya shillings as additional allocations or conditional grants, and 3.4 billion Kenya shillings as on-source revenue. The increase in both equitable share and conditional grants was attributed to balances carried forward from previous financial year of 2022-2023. About physical performance and on more specific on revenue performance, Honorable Speaker, during the year under review, the county received 13.1 billion Kenya shillings against a target of 15.8 billion Kenya shillings, representing 83%. This was an increase of 7% from previous financial year, in which the county's total receipts were 11.97 billion Kenya shillings. And Honorable Speaker, there is a table that shows a physical outturn for fiscal year 2023-2024. And in summary, on total revenue, actuals for fiscal year 2023-2024 were 13 billion 57,140,135 Kenya shillings, which is 83% representation. That is on total revenue, Honorable Speaker. On total expenditure, actuals for fiscal year 2023-2024 was 12,458,451,506 Kenya shillings, representing 79% of the budget. Recurrent of the same year, that is fiscal year 2023-2024, Honorable Speaker, we have 9,506,985,067 Kenya shillings, giving a budget execution of 88%. And we have arms of the county government. We have county assembly and we have county executive on recurrent, and I wish to request the House to go through it. And I look at development budget, Honorable Speaker. The actuals for fiscal year 2023-2024 totals, that is for county assembly and county executive, were 2,951,466,439 Kenya shillings, giving a budget execution of 59%. And the source of that table is Machakos County financial statements for fiscal year 2023-2024. On county's own source revenue, Honorable Speaker, the county government had a target of 3.4 billion Kenya shillings as on-source revenue, which consisted of 2.3 billion Kenya shillings as ordinary on-source revenue, 1 billion as facility improvement fund, 0.1 billion Kenya shillings has appropriation in aid through asset disposals. And due to prevailing revenue mobilization challenges, the county was able to collect 1.3 billion Kenya shillings and 204 million Kenya shillings as ordinary on-source revenue and FIF respectively. This amount represented an increase of 8.4% compared to 1.43 billion Kenya shillings realized in financial year 2022-2023, translating to 45% of the total target for fiscal year 2023-2024. There is a table below that shows ONSO's revenue per quarter and ensuing financial years from 2019 to 2023. And Honorable Speaker, in the interest of time, I'll dwell on fiscal year 2023-2024. First quarter, 217,987,664 Kenya shillings. Quarter 2, 185,601,383 Kenya shillings. Quarter 3, 635,111,253 Kenya shillings. Quarter 4, 510,648,178 Kenya shillings, giving a total of 1,578,499,094 Kenya shillings. Source of that table, again, is Machakos County financial statements for fiscal year 2023-2024. Honorable Speaker, looking at those years, from 2022, there was a gradual increase in the collections. On conditional grants, Honorable Speaker, the county expected to receive 1.37 billion Kenya shillings as additional allocations or conditional grants comprising of 12.92 million Kenya shillings, equalization fund, 14.54 million Kenya shillings, and conditional grants, and 1.35 billion Kenya shillings conditional grants. The actual receipts amounted to 1.02 billion Kenya shillings, representing a 74.45% achievement rate. On expenditure performance, Honorable Speaker, analysis of the same by economic classification shows that compensation of employees had the highest absorption rate of 49% of the total budget, followed by use of goods and services at 25%, and finally, acquisition of assets at 17%, giving an overall absorption rate of 97%. The overall budget execution declined by 3%, from 82% in fiscal year 2022-2023 to 79% in fiscal year 2023-2024. Despite this decline, the overall absorption rate of the development budget increased from 49% in fiscal year 2022-2023 to 58% in the reporting period. Looking at county entities' expenditure analysis, Honorable Speaker, all of them achieved an absorption rate of at least 65%, with the exception of trade, industrialization and innovation, water, irrigation, environment and climate change, and lands, urban development and housing and energy. This was due to the fact that a higher percentage of the department's allocations were in development budget composed mostly of conditional grants, which were not received during the implementation period. The highest rate of budget execution was recorded in the County Assembly and Department of Health at 90% and 88% respectively, with the least being with the Trade Department at 45%. Looking at resource allocation framework implementation for fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, Honorable Speaker, this budget has begun well, with indicators in the first month pointing to meeting the end-year target in regards to absorption of funds and improved strategies in revenue collection. The medium-term fiscal framework for fiscal year 2025-2026 emphasizes on efficiency and effectiveness of public spending and improving revenue collection to stimulate and sustain economic activities. To finance financial year 2024-2025, the county treasury projects its revenue at 14.39 billion Kenya shillings. This will comprise of equitable share of 9.91 billion Kenya shillings, conditional grants of 1 billion Kenya shillings, and conditional grants of 1.71 million Kenya shillings, hospital revenues of 0.69 billion Kenya shillings, own source revenue of 2.79 billion Kenya shillings, representing 68%, 7%, 1%, 5%, and 19% of the total revenue, respectively. medium-term expenditure framework, Honorable Speaker, of 2025-2026 through to 2026-2027 builds up on national government efforts to stimulate and sustain economic activity through bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The document is framed against a backdrop of global economic slowdown occasioned by ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, elevated global inflation, lingering effects of COVID-19 pandemic, persistent supply chain disruptions, food security, and climate change effects. The allocation of resources in the medium term will be based on the following. 1, PFMA 2012 principles. 2, the medium-term plan of Vision 2030. 3, equitable share of revenue allocation from the national government. 4, ongoing projects. 5, Her Excellency the Governor's Manifesto of 2022. 6, programs prioritized in 2023 to 2027 CIDP. 7, cost effectiveness and sustainability of the programs. 8, annual development plan. 9, budget ceilings given by the Commission of Revenue Allocation. 10, degree to which the programs addresses strategic objectives of the county. 11, degree to which the programs are addressing the core functions and responsibilities of the department. Honorable Speaker, the county's proposed resource envelope in the medium term is presented in the table below. And I would wish to request the House to clearly look at that table. I'll be giving just the totals. Equitable share, printed estimates for 2024-2025, 9,914,003,936 Kenya shillings. Projected estimates for 2025-2026 financial year, 9,865,000,000 Kenya shillings. Projected estimates for fiscal year 2026-2027, 9,865,000,000 Kenya shillings. On total and conditional grants, Honorable Speaker, printed estimates for fiscal year 2024-2025, 1,708,218 Kenya shillings. On projected estimates for 2025-2026, 1,708,218 Kenya shillings. Projected estimates for fiscal year 2026-2027, 1,708,218 Kenya shillings. Components of unconditional grants are court fines and mineral royalties. On conditional grants, Honorable Speaker, components being Community Health Promoters Project, Road Maintenance Levy Fund, Kenya Devolution Support Project from World Bank, Kenya Urban Support Project, UIG. The first one was KDSP, the second one is UIG from World Bank. There's another one, Kenya Urban Support Program, UDG from World Bank. Another grant, Universal Health Care in Devolved System Program from Danida. Another one, National Agricultural Value Chain Development Project. Another one, Emergency Locust Response Project from World Bank. Another one, Kenya Agricultural Business Development Project from Sweden. Another one is Aquaculture Business Development Program from HIFAD. Another grant is Locally Led Climate Change Action Program, otherwise known as FLOCA from World Bank. And Locally Led Climate Change Action Program, FLOCA, County Climate Institution Support from World Bank. Honorable Speaker, printed estimates for 2025, total printed estimates for fiscal year 2024-2025 are 1,511,971 Kenya shillings. Totals for projected estimates on conditional grants for fiscal year 2025-2026 are 1,511,971 Kenya shillings, and for fiscal year 2026-2027 are 1,511,971 Kenya shillings. We also have total hospital revenues for the printed estimates for fiscal year 2024-2025 687 million Kenya shillings. For fiscal year 2025-2026, we have 721,350,000 Kenya shillings. For fiscal year 2026-2027, we have 793,485,000 Kenya shillings. On own source revenue, printed estimates for fiscal year 2024-2025, 2,788,961,509 Kenya shillings. For fiscal year 2025-2026, 2,829,522,355 Kenya shillings. For fiscal year 2026-2027, 2,970,998,472 Kenya shillings. Total county budget, printed estimates for 2024-2025 fiscal year, 14,392,185,634 Kenya shillings. For 2025-2026, 14,418,092,544 Kenya shillings. For 2026-2027, 14,631,703,661 Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, the county's medium-term expenditure by each entity is as given in the table that follows. I would wish to ask the House to go through it, to go through each department or entity, and the totals are as given below. I'm going to give totals for recurrent, totals for development, and then the total budget. Printed estimates for fiscal year 2024-2025 on recurrent totals, 10,067,055,061 Kenya shillings. For 2025-2026, 10,092,064,781 Kenya shillings. For 2026-2027, 10,242,192,563 Kenya shillings. Totals for development, printed estimates for 2024-2025 financial year, 4,325,130,572 Kenya shillings. For 2025-2026, 4,325,427,763 Kenya shillings. For 2026-2027, 4,389,511,098 Kenya shillings. Total budget, printed estimates for financial year 2024-2025, 14,392,185,633 Kenya shillings. For 2025-2026, 14,418,092,544 Kenya shillings. For 2026-2027, 14,631,703,661 Kenya shillings. Committee's observations and recommendations. Honorable Speaker, the committee made the following observations and recommendations. 1, that the county treasury adheres to the budget calendar for fiscal year 2025-2026 budget making process. This will ensure that the process is within the set legal timelines and also gives the committee and this honorable House ample time to scrutinize, analyze and process each and every budget document. 2, that during the year under review, the county collected on-source revenue of 1.5 billion Kenya shillings against a target of 3.4 billion Kenya shillings. The committee observed that there was an underperformance and thus recommends to the county government as follows. A, ensure strict enforcement measures to minimize loss of revenue. B, strengthen internal controls to avoid pilferage. C, frequently conduct rapid results initiative and grant waivers for different streams of revenue from time to time. D, set realistic and achievable revenue targets informed by previous trends. E, expand the revenue streams. And F, implement the county property valuation role. Another observation and recommendation, number 3, the committee notes that despite allocation of funds to acquire a revenue management software, revenue collection has not improved significantly. 4, that the procurement process and the development budget should be initiated in good time to facilitate timely completion and payment of projects. This will also aid in addressing the issue of pending bills as projects will be executed and paid for in the financial year in which they were initially budgeted for, as well as increasing the absorption rate of the development budget. 5, that the county government reduces the overall wage bill, which stands at 49% of the previous year's actual revenues against set legal limit of that 5%. 6, that the performance of conditional grants was way below the target, and the committee recommends that the county treasury needs to establish the reasons behind the poor performance of grants. Further, there are discrepancies in the actual amounts of conditional grants received in different reports, such as CPROP and the Controller of Budget report. 7, that all county departments achieved overall absorption rate of 65%, except the Department of Trade, Industrialization and Innovation, and committee recommends that the department ensure that and the committee recommends that departments ensure that they utilize their budgets as allocated for better service delivery. 8, that the Office of the Controller of Budget did a review of the Machakos County Budget Review and Outlook paper of 2024 and provided a number of recommendations via a letter dated 26th November 2024, which is annexed in the report, Honorable Speaker, and the committee urges the county executive to consider the reviews in future. Further, the CCM Finance should report to the committee on how far they have gone in implementing the said recommendations. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, the Budget and Appropriations Committee acknowledges the office of the Speaker and that of the Clerk of the County Assembly for facilitating the committee to undertake this exercise. I wish to express my appreciation to honorable members of the committee who sacrificed much of their time to participate in the meetings and in preparation of this report. Honorable Speaker, it is therefore my privilege and honor on behalf of the Committee of Budget and Appropriations to table the Machakos County Budget Review and Outlook paper of 2024 before this Honorable House for consideration and adoption. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Member. At this point, I would like to welcome members to debate the matter. Honorable Maida.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of the members of the County Assembly of Machakos, I want to thank the Budget and the Budget Committee for the excellent work that Madam Speaker and the excellent document that they have presented in this House in their quest for oversight and prudent implementation of our budgets that are passed and adopted by this House almost every year. Madam Speaker, I don't want to dwell much on the document because it is self-explanatory. We sat here yesterday, Madam Speaker, and discussed of similar issues that have been raised by the Budget Committee. And Machakos County reports seems not to be adhering with constitutional requirements, Madam Speaker, that ought to be adhered to so that we can have prudent and proper utilization of our budgets and especially our finances, Madam Speaker. I just don't want to go to the issues of revenue because we discussed that and you made a ruling to that effect. Madam Speaker, I still continue to ask myself one question. Why do we make laws that we don't follow? Madam Speaker, this House is an house of order that believes in the constitutions and the rule of law. But it seems that our government, especially the Machakos County government, to be in particular, doesn't want to adhere to the constitution and the general rule of law in this country on certain issues. Madam Speaker, if you read the report that has just been tabled by the Chair Budget, and you just go to the library and get an abstract of the just recently uploaded Auditor General's report, Madam Speaker, it leaves more questions than answers as to why we are not adhering to our constitutional requirements. The Public Finance Management Act, the Public Procurement Act, the Human Resource Regulations Act, the Central Bank Regulatory Act. We are not adhering at all, Madam Speaker. A practical example, Madam Speaker. The committee has just told us we are at 49% on human resource, Madam Speaker. And the law is clear and explicit that we are not supposed to go beyond 35%. Madam Speaker, we are way above the minimum, the maximum threshold by almost 14%. And if you read the Auditor General's report, it says we are at 51. So it's a difference of only about 2%. So that means we are almost 20% over and above, about 15, 14, 16% over and above the constitutional threshold that we are not supposed to go beyond. Madam Speaker, if you read the report, what they have said, the Auditor General's report is saying the county government of Machakos went ahead and ignored the laws of the land and paid a tune of 484 million shillings salaries to staffs who are not covered under the IPPD system. Madam Speaker, because I might not speak for long, and yesterday my leader told me very wise words, which I will strictly adhere to. I want to say this, Honorable Member. The National Assembly gave us a precedence by setting up and coming up with limits of borrowing. It is now this assembly to take and crack the whip and ensure that we set a limit as to how much we can go in terms of our personnel in the county government. Madam Speaker, today this honorable member seated here. Yesterday we discussed about the issue of a number of hundreds of staff who were employed to enhance our revenue, but the return on investment is almost zero. So, Madam Speaker, this House now needs to take serious matters of such nature, and we come up with a motion that is going to tame the appetite for continued employment in this county, Madam Speaker. It is eating up into our development budget, Madam Speaker. I sat in this assembly between 2013 and 2017. And at the exit, in 2017, Madam Speaker, the budget that we passed on 2017-2018, Madam Speaker, before we exited, was about 8 billion in total. That was the total budget that we left in at that time, Madam Speaker. And during 2013-2017, we started with a budget of about 5 billion, transited to 6 billion, 7 billion, and exited with 8 billion shillings. And Madam Speaker, most of the tangible development that we can be proud of today, the graders we bought, the county trucks we bought, the Kevimani Road that was done then, and many other projects that are visible was done with a budget of less than 8 billion, Madam Speaker. How is it that the Honorable Chair has told us right now, we are now operating with a budget of close to almost 13-14 billion shillings, Madam Speaker, but we are not feeling the development on the ground? One good reason, because our human resource is eating into our development funds. Madam Speaker, this narrative has to change. In as much as we want to create employment, Madam Speaker, let us first create the systems that can have employment created, having conducive markets with lightings, having roads well done, so that we can open up our infrastructure, our economy in our county, and create employment. We cannot employ every single day, Madam Speaker. So the report is self-explanatory, Madam Speaker. And this county now has to realize that laws are meant to be followed and adhered to so that they can cut the appetite of some departments and some people. Madam Speaker, this assembly would love to operate with a budget of 2 billion shillings. But there is a constitutional body called CRA that has gone and gave us a ceiling that if we like it or not, we must adhere to it. Why is it that the county executive is not adhering to the constitutional requirement, Madam Speaker? It is unfortunate, and the time is now. When we go back to our wars in 2027 to seek for votes, The residents will not inquire to know the number of people we paid in terms of salaries or we employed. They will inquire to know how many dams we brought to the ground, how many roads were done, how many mulikamwizis we are lit, Madam Speaker. That is what is going to precipitate to convince the residents and the electorate of Machakos County that we did some good work for them. So, Madam Speaker, I want to implore of this House. The time is now, and if it is not now, it should have been yesterday, that we must rise and ensure that whatever the Constitution entails of us, both in the county assembly and the county executive, is adhered to the latter, so that we can be able to bring development to the people. Madam Speaker, I want to seek your intervention. I've gone through the Auditor General's report, and I would like, Madam Speaker, through your wisdom, to organize for a retreat to these members. We go and sit down and go through that Auditor General's report, Madam Speaker, and you see the kind of discrepancies that have been raised by the Auditor General that are in tandem with what the Honorable Chair for Budget has brought, Madam Speaker. And it's by reading that document that we'll come here, and before we do our budget, we be able to come up with a budget that is clearly defined. And Madam Speaker, as I finish, if you read what the Honorable Chair has said, and the Auditor General's report has said, we are coming up with budgets that are not program-based budgets, whereby we are just giving a wholesome amount of money to a department, but it does not specify what will be done where, in what will be done in each and every ward, Madam Speaker. And I want to request the Honorable Chair budget, this time round, do not bring us a blanket document. We want to know which projects will be undertaken in Mutituni ward and at what cost. We want to know which projects will be undertaken in Kimakimo ward, in Masinga Central ward, in Machakos Central ward, in every single ward, including Mudhwane ward, so that we can have a track of what was done and at what cost. We cannot be giving variations in terms of contracts awards anyhowly. The county government has a responsibility to undertake services in a ward that is either subscribed or not subscribed to, irrespective of what the member subscribes to. So, Madam Speaker, this report has to be adhered for. And I request of you, Madam Speaker, as you will give us a direction to that, when we will be given the opportunity to go and look at that good document, honorable members, I beseech of you, let us all be there. We look at that document before the Honorable Chair brings us estimates of the financial year 2025-2026, so that we can make a conclusive and comprehensive decision as to what kind of a budget that we want. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support the report, but support the report does not mean anything. What is of importance is to ensure that the contents of the report are implemented as per the recommendations of the committee, and dig further to come up with further restrictive measures that can make sure that our development budget is more than the recurrent development expenditure. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Ndawa, then Honorable
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Johanna, then Honorable Lloyd. In that, then Honorable PK. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Judas Ndawa, the member representing the great people of Matru. Honorable Speaker, I will start by applauding the chair, our most able chair, and the committee members for this self-explanatory report. Honorable Speaker, when a business is given to a certain committee or a sectoral committee, the members of that committee work without malicious intentions. And it should be noted that the reports we are bringing to this house are true reflection of what is there. And I'm requesting both sides of the government, the executive and the assembly, let the reports be taken positively, because we are doing what we are expected to do. Honorable Speaker, there is similarity between this report and yesterday's report. look at the observations and recommendations, there is not much difference. Where the Committee on Finance and Revenue Collection was seated to compile the report, it is not the same venue where the Budget and Appropriation Committee was seated while compiling this report. Honorable Speaker, during the colonial time, and this is history, we never had these courts we are having today. We never used to have these courts we are having today. In the case of any dispute, Honorable Speaker, the colonial men or the colonial leaders of that time used what we call panels. They used to pick at least a group of 3 senior men and women. They are given a desk somewhere and they are given a matter to come up with a determination. Another set of senior men and women is given another desk in another corner and given the same matter. And that team was kept in another desk. Honorable Speaker, during the time of making determination, Team A was not supposed to consult with Team B and was not supposed to consult with Team C. Team A is supposed to make its determination, Team B make its determination, and Team C make its determination. Honorable Speaker, when they gave out the determinations, the colonial leader used to compare what has been given by Team A, Team B, Team C. If the ruling is same, it was presumed that is a judgment, and it's a proper judgment because it has been discussed by different groups. Honorable Speaker, yesterday we are here, and temperatures are very high because of things that we are supposed to be doing and we are not doing. Why do we have laws in our country? Why do we have laws in our nation, in the world? Laws are there to ensure one does what he or she is required to do. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to dwell much on this report, but in our observation and recommendation, it is clear that the law says the wage bill should not exceed 35%. And here, the report is telling us we are at 49. And the controller of budget is telling us we are at 52. While the law says we are not supposed to exceed 35. Why should we go beyond the said limit, Honorable Speaker? What is discipline? A good definition of discipline is to do what is right, you do it right time, and you do it correctly. That is what we call discipline. Yes. It means now, us as a country, we are not disciplined because we are not adhering to the set regulations. And the regulations are there to regulate and ensure that things are done the right way. Again, Honorable Speaker, the same thing that came out yesterday is appearing in recommendation number 3. That after spending a lot of resources to automate so that we can collect more, the results remain the same. Honorable Speaker, the Budget and Appropriation Committee and this Assembly approved about over 100 million for automation. And after spending that amount, the collection from the report did not change. What was the purpose of spending that amount if we are not getting results? Honorable Speaker, we need to rethink. We need to sit down now as a county assembly and also have a meeting with the other arm of the government, because the county government of Machakos consists of two arms: county executive and county assembly. And we are serving the same client. There is no client for county executive and client for county assembly. We all serve the same client. And that is why I'm proposing that there is urgent need for us to have a sitting so that we can evaluate ourselves to see where are we going wrong, so that we can be able to collect that problem. Honorable Speaker, the rank and file at home, the rank and file are watching at us as an assembly. And they send us so that we can be able to offer solutions to their problems. And if we are here and we are not offering those solutions, why are we here? Then we need all of us to resign and go home, if we cannot do what is required of us. Honorable Speaker, it is my humble plea to both arms of the government. Let us do things in the right way. Let us have frequent or often meetings so that we can be able to see where we are making mistakes. Honorable Speaker, I'm on record and I'm repeating it again here. And a difference exists between de jure and de facto. A difference exists between the two words. De facto is as things are on the ground. That is what we call de facto. De jure means as per laws in books. We have laws in books here. We are supposed to be within 35 and below. De facto, we are 49, and the control of budget is telling us we are at 52. If we are not careful, Honorable Speaker, we will always be on the defending side. If we are not careful, and if we don't change our way of doing things, we will always be on defending side and firefighting. And instead of spending a lot of energy on firefighting, why don't we ensure that we don't have the fires? Let us do what is supposed to be done before things go the wrong direction. Honorable Speaker, yesterday we are in HBC, House Business Committee, and the HBC was forced by circumstances to convene another sitting so that we can get the timelines for the documents that are supposed to be approved by this House and that are supposed to be coming from the executive side. Honorable Speaker, just a few minutes ago, you have told us that we expect to get county fiscal strategy paper on 28th. The timeline says 28th. If timeline says by 28th we are supposed to have gotten that document, why should we wait until the deadline? That is when we are submitting the document, and maybe the assembly is not sitting. It is either on recess. And as you are aware, without county fiscal strategy paper, the department did their public participation. And us as an assembly, we are also supposed to do ours. So if we are not careful, Honorable Speaker, we may not be able to beat timelines which are set in our books of laws. So, Honorable Speaker, I'm requesting, and I'm humbly requesting, let us desist from exceeding the set limits. Honorable Speaker, in the report, the chairman is telling us, and it's not the chairman, it's the committee, because I sit in that committee, that there are some discrepancies between the monies that we receive as conditional grants, what we are getting from our side, and what the controller of budget has. Why that discrepancy? Numbers do not lie. The report is telling us we set realistic targets. Yesterday, that was the same animal which was here. Honorable Speaker, a disease killed somebody when it comes for the second time or third time. That is when a patient dies. You may suffer from a disease. You go to hospital, you are treated, and God gives you mercy, you survive. When that disease reoccurs again and again, you may not survive. My dad, my late father, Samuel Indawambili, told me one time, if your son or your wife or your relative gets sick, you take him to hospital or her to hospital. He is treated or she is treated. She's okay. You take him or her home. After 3 days, the disease reoccurs. You take him for treatment second time. When the disease comes for the third time, don't waste your time taking that patient to hospital. Because you will be mark timing. Yesterday I demonstrated here military drills. By the left, by the right, mark time. The soldiers will be moving left, right, left, right. No going forward, no going backward. You will keep on going to hospital, home, hospital, home. Look for what brings that disease. Look for that, for whatever that causes that disease. Deal with that. Otherwise, we will keep on doing same thing. It is now us as an assembly, us as a county executive, because we are one, to sit down and identify where the gaps are and seal these gaps. Because if we don't do that, we will be ending in the wrong direction. Honorable Speaker, I support the report.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Joanna, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Let's be brief because I think
Yes.
the gaps have been identified. We now know them.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to support the report on the Budget and Appropriation Committee on the third County Budget Review and Outlook paper. Madam Speaker, I will be very brief. One, Madam Speaker, in the preamble, the report says that one of the key areas which the CPROP is supposed to speak to is to give reasons for any deviations from the financial objectives, together with the proposals to address the deviation and the time estimated to do so. Madam Speaker, I have gone through the report, and I would have wished and be interested to see that when the paper was being presented, that item should have been addressed properly, that the deviations are identified and owned, and the reasons and whatever measures are being taken to address the deviations. Madam Speaker, yesterday we went through another paper, and if I was to compare it with our today's paper, for example, the target for health revenue collection, on-source revenue collection through health, was 1 billion for the year 2023-2024. We managed to collect 177 million out of the 1 billion target for that financial year. Madam Speaker, the projected target for this year, financial year 2024-2025, is 687 million, up from 177 actuals which were collected, which have been collected the year 2023-2024. That is a clear deviation, a very serious one, and Madam Speaker, I would love to see the miracle. It should have been shown on this paper, which will bring us from 177 million actual collected to the projected 687 million target for the financial year 2024-2025. Madam Speaker, we said yesterday that we have the potential to realize such figures, but there is something which we are not really getting right. That is why we are insisting we want somebody to come and shed light on such. Madam Speaker, I have seen also on page 7 what will inform the allocation of resources in the medium term for this financial year 2024-2025. There is whatever has been presented on the paper on the report, but Madam Speaker, pending bills is a key issue in the expenditures of this county. And Madam Speaker, we have daughters and sons of this county who are even some in the verge of committing suicide because of not having been paid. When we don't factor such as a key issue in the allocation of resources, and we are discussing such a paper, Madam Speaker, that may mean we are not really very serious on this paper. Madam Speaker, I want to, before I end, I have looked at the on-source revenue, yesterday's paper document and today's. From the same source, that is the county government. Madam Speaker, I just want to quote the source of that table, which is the same source for yesterday's on-source collection table. Madam Speaker, I have noted that Machakos County financial statements, picked from the same statements. Yesterday it was 1,578,000,000 and some thousands. Today it is 1,578,000,000 and some thousands, a difference of 240,000 from the same source. So somebody would also wish to see where that difference comes from, because it is from the same source. Madam Speaker, lastly, I would also wish to point that the wage bill has been talked about, but I would just emphasize that this is very simple mathematics. We are going through what during our times, or which is still the case for the mathematicians, what we call inverse proportion. That as one end increases, the other end decreases. As the revenue collection decreases, the wage bill increases. And it is common sense, if we wanted to employ as many, because we have a lot of people, our people, who are jobless, and we have a potential of collecting 8 billion per year, which was the revenue potential for this county. Why can't we organize ourselves? Why can't we close our pockets and make sure that we have collected 8 billion and employ as many as we can, because they'll be also doing work for the Machakos County and there will be value for money. Why should the collection be going down as we continue raising the wage bill and going against the Constitution? I was interested to note that during the Corona year 2020, in the fourth quarter, we managed to collect on-source revenue of 560 million. During the year under discussion, in the same period, quarter 4, with all the strategies, with all the employment, with the new machine and all the systems in place, we managed to collect 510 without the corona anywhere. So, Madam Speaker, we need to address these things seriously. And if whoever we thought was competent then has lost competence, then we will have no option than to get somebody else who can really drive this county to where it's supposed to be. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I had identified Honorable Lloyd to take up.
I'll be very brief.
I'll ask you after which.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to be very, very brief on this. Honorable Joanna has mentioned one thing that I've seen to be very consistent from this department, that I'm a member of Finance Committee, that we share the same department with budget, where you get the source that is giving you information, you get different figures. I've seen this one very many times, and I think it's an issue that should be addressed. Now, on the issue of the own source revenue, I really have a problem with this thing. During our meeting at KICC, is at that time I heard the Morangan governor say the many projects that are very successful in that county is a recommendation from the county assembly. If you have noted for the years we've been here, we've been giving too many recommendations to the executive. I don't know what they implement because I don't see it. It's like we just write recommendation. Like here now in the Finance Committee, we are in this budget for the revenue. Because we in Machakos and we don't live in vacuum. And someone said the other day that we are automating everything. And because of this, that's why the cartels are fighting the governor. You know, I found it quite unnecessary. 2 years, almost 7 months in government, you are talking about cartels. What have you been doing in the government? You need to have uprooted all these cartels by now. Unless someone is just fighting a vacuum, finding excuses and not doing the job that the governor, because all of us are here, if the governor is successful, everyone else is successful because we are serving one client, the people who brought us in this house. So I find that this department, there's a lot that need to be done, and I think it's not being done. On the own source revenue, my calculation here, I can see that we missed our target that had already been revised to 3.4 by 54%. You know, when you arrive at a figure, you have input. You cannot hand unknowns, unknown, and get an answer. No. You must have input for you to get an answer. Now, I see we will still be working with almost the same budget, but now, Madam Speaker, we need one thing to be sorted. We missed by 54%. In the next budget, have they addressed those issues so that we don't have such a variance again? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Majority, Honorable Ndaka, Honorable Finance Chairperson, Honorable PK. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
It's not deliberate.
Madam Speaker, a precedent was set yesterday.
Yesterday.
And,
so the last born must come last.
Yes, and the Honorable,
Unfortunately.
the Honorable PK, who is my rural MCA.
Yes.
And I want to congratulate him for the first time he has patiently sat on the government side. He will have his time. You'll have your time, Mheshimiwa. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I just want to say three things very briefly because some of them have been said by my colleagues. We have a problem. We have a small problem. And our problem is we do not use statistics faithfully. Because in the first year, we did set a revenue target, which was ambitious, and we were all hoping to get there. You know, we were coming into government and we are saying we can do this. Unfortunately, because of a lot of factors, a combination of factors, we fell short. I think we fell short 50%, the first one. Again, we came to year 2. We did set revenue targets, but we never used the base. The base was the first year we were in office, which would have been given us a good feel of how far we can go. Because you use that base for projection. Year 2, we did not also meet our own revenue targets. Again, we had a base. And I hear you, Madam Speaker, saying that you have communicated and say we will have a county physical strategy paper very soon as a starting point for the next financial year budget, preparation of next financial year budget. I am hoping that the current financial year we are preparing for, budget for the next financial year, we will trust statistics because numbers don't lie. We'll have gone 2 years, set a revenue target and fail on it. So why can't we just be faithful to statistics? They have shown us the way and just project. You know, there's a game I call a game of failure because the failure in the Olympics is the one who goes home with the gold. It is called high jump. The person who will fail at the highest is the one who is going home with the gold. So let us not set the bar too high because we might not reach there because of a lot of budget, which leads to another problem, which Mheshimiwa Yona, you have talked about, pending bills. Because we set a very huge target, within that budget is a document for planning purposes. It's a planning tool. And because we pass that budget in anticipation we are going to raise that money, we go ahead and develop annual development plan with ambitions plan and commit to do them, and indeed we do them. But once we finish implementing the projects, what happens? We do not have the money to pay for what we have done. So we create another pending bill. So we must start getting it right. Getting it right by setting the right target, and together with the equitable share, then we are able to meet the obligation of the budget. Madam Speaker, I sit in that committee, and we have not been able to establish up to this moment as a committee whether we have an approved county procurement document. Because we are getting from all the departments saying we have not procured because we do not have the approval. Madam Speaker, we are 4 months to the end of a financial year. I'm looking at a situation where, again, we are going to rush to do projects, and they are not going to be paid for, and we are going to create another pending bill, which is not working for our people. Because the essence of devolution was the money we get as own source and the money that we get from the national government, as much of it should remain in Machakos. So that we see improvement of livelihood and lives. we see improvement of our villages, improvement in our, every aspect of our economic life. So I support that the report of the where I sat, but also caution that going forward, let us trust statistics. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Members, before we proceed, there's some issues that are coming up repeatedly, and I think we need to address them as a House right away. There is this matter of wage bill exceeding the thresholds as given by the law. There is this matter of statutory documents coming late to us, and there is that matter of deviation and not adhering to the recommendations given by the committee. I want to seek your audience. How do you intend? How do we handle these issues? You have an answer, Honorable PK, maybe. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for catching my eye. Madam Speaker, it is said that when an accused pleads guilty, what comes next is sentencing, which may come in form of fines or serving in jail term. Madam Speaker, as we have said, that those issues, they cannot be talked any other better way other than saying that it is blatant violation of the law because it is self-explanatory. We say that when something is self-explanatory, that issue is res ipsa loquita, that it can't be said better than that. Your Honor, Madam Speaker, I want to say that this goose is cooked. And however much we talk, we'll talk until the cows come home. We cannot say that there's no one who has the responsibility. We have the people who have been instructed there by law, people who are responsible, and those people, they are the ones to answer. And this matter, where the finger is pointing, because it is proved beyond reasonable doubt and also on the balance probability, Madam Speaker, none else other than the CCM Finance. That is where all these issues are lying. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kitaka.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. Honorable Kitaka, representing the Lani people. And on matters this report, I arise to support. And I will just want to touch on matters data inconsistency. You cannot be a source of data that gives various results every time a data is requested from you. It's either you are mocking us, it's either you don't respect this house, and it is either somebody doesn't do what is required of him. We have our accountants, we have our data people in the department. It is important that everybody takes his job serious. Madam Speaker, you have a secretariat, for example. If they feed you with information which is not valid, who takes responsibility? So it is important, honorable members, that now we do things the right way, as honorable members are saying. If we really mean well for our people, and if we really mean well and want to support Her Excellency, the Governor. Honorable Speaker, recommendations of this House has not been taken seriously. This is our the third budget we are talking about. Procurement process, I'm afraid Honorable Speaker, I'm not sure whether even the procurement plan is in place. 4 months to the end of this financial year. When are we going to procure the services and deliver the same services to our people? It is high time we also take serious our contractors. Who are we expecting them to conduct the business? If for sure we want services given and the quality assured by our contractors, we have to do these things timely and ensure that every bit of procurement is followed. So, Madam Speaker, I can't say it better. Honorable members, honorable House, it is high time that now everybody carries his own cross. If you are an executive member, I said yesterday, you are a chief officer in our government, and you are not doing your work properly, my friend, then the governor doesn't need you. The assembly equally doesn't need you. Let us do our job. Let us make sure that at least our people get what they require. We have a mandate to represent them and to oversight. We will do our job equally to make sure that everything happens. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Daka, you had raised your hand. I remember.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, let me thank the honorable members, because the issue now we are discussing is an issue which is of great importance to our county. Let me say we are here to support the government, and nobody has an issue with the government, but we are here to correct and to make things perfect for our people to get better services. Madam Speaker, allow me to quote what one Honorable Ndawa has said. He has used a small analogy of setting a panel, 3 to 4 to get a better ruling. And actually we have at least 5 rulings. One from controller of the budget, another one from the Committee of the Finance, and another one from the Committee of Finance, and another one from the Senate. Madam Speaker, we are not here to promote incompetence. And all the issues which are moving us around is one centered to one person, the CCM Finance. Madam Speaker, for us to bring sanity within Machakos government, Kuyu must go to bring sanity. Because the issue of the pending bill are also from the Kuyu. The issue of revenue collection are also from Kuyu. We are not here to entice somebody. We are here to set rules and they make government work. For me to sit down, Kuyu must go.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Kavyu, Honorable Ndwiki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First, I support the report. However, Madam Speaker, one item that is very clear, and it doesn't seem to be stopping any soon, is the issue of increased wage bill. When we came in 2022, the wage bill for Machakos County was averaging around 38-39%. From the report, we are now at 49%, which translates to a 10% increment for the last 2 years. And Madam Speaker, one of the key driver or component of the increased wage bill is the Department of Finance. Madam Speaker, if you recall, the department made a request and cited that if we allow them to have additional staff, they were confident, very sure of delivering the 4 billion target own source revenue that they had projected. Madam Speaker, today as we speak, if it's a common occurrence, if you just walk outside here and make an observation on the number of people who are doing parking fee collection, you will find within a 10 meters radius, you will find not less than four revenue clerks.
Okay, point of information granted. Have you just
Madam Speaker, the father of the house is not present, who has a lot of wisdom. And in his absence, he is represented by the Honorable Majority Leader. I wish to inform the Honorable Kavio, the information I have just received from the Honorable Majority Leader is that the number of parking attendants are more, actually, to be specific, are 3 times than the vehicle at the parking yard.
I want to clarify, Madam Speaker.
Very articulate information. You require that information, Honorable.
Madam Speaker,
Yeah,
if you allow me, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
I want to say,
1 minute.
I don't represent anyone except the people of Machakos Central Ward and the citizen at large. And for the records, I am being misquoted, my Mheshimiwa Maitha. This is what I said. I said the number of parking attendants per capita are higher than the cars. It's for you to interpret. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Madam Speaker.
Proceed, Honorable Kavio, proceed.
Thank you for the information. I think the two statements confirms that within a radius of 10 meters, you will find a minimum of 4 to 5 revenue clerks. And you will find each of them, because we once conducted a site visit here, they are normally given a target of 2,000 shillings.
Per day?
Per day.
Per day, okay.
So, Madam Speaker, does it mean, because for you to achieve a target of 2,000, you just need to attend 10 vehicles, which can be easily achieved by around midday. So does it mean after midday, we normally have happy hours, free parking within the town? So, Madam Speaker, it is not logical that on one side, the department is really pushing to have the systems automated. They talk big on automation. But on the other side, the proportion of staff is also going up. It is not logical. Because if you automate more, we expect you to be lean on workforce. Sure. But there is an anomaly here in Machakos. We are automating. We are also increasing the workforce. So, Madam Speaker, it is time we have a clear analysis so that we can understand what is our need. Because if we just employ because we want to accommodate people, then we will spend the entire allocation for Machakos County on meeting the recurrent expenditure of the government. And that is what is happening. Madam Speaker, if you look keenly at, I was just looking at the numbers that are being given here. It means that we are going to have, a budget that is in violation of the guideline that has been provided, because it's supposed to be 70, 30 basis, 30 development, 70% recurrent. But it is not the case. Even for the document that has been provided to us, We cannot be having a budget of 14 billion and only what is going to development is less than 3 billion. Because there are variation. So what is our focus? When are we going to serve our people? And the other thing, Madam Speaker, and this is the request that we want as we look forward to 2024-2025 budget appropriation. Oh,